So first, why should we bother to save the deli?
Well, you know, I always say for two reasons. The first reason is taste, food, right? With the exception of the Arthur Schwartz of the world. A lot of people, especially younger generations of Jews, don't know how to cook. And Sarah was organized this was saying that, you know, my mother's a great cook. She doesn't know how to cook. Doesn't know how to make matzo balls, doesn't know how to make it. We're very sorry, but she's a lovely woman, and she's single. I don't even know.
You don't know she's single. Maybe she's single, but she can't cook.
Okay, you've embarrassed her enough. But you know, what I always say is that if the Jewish delicatessens aren't serving this food, if a place like the Second Avenue Deli isn't making pacha, no one else will. And for people who don't have a connection to this food or don't know how to make it themselves, or just come to New York as you know, a nice Gentile boy from the Midwest and want to taste what matzo ball soup tastes like, if the Jewish delicatessens aren't around to serve that food, no one else will. We can't.
They can come to my house.
They could come to your house, but you would get pretty sick of that after a while, I think.
I know it.
And you know, we can't leave it up to the TGI Fridays and the Subways and the.
Sure. But why is this food important? I mean, can't the world live without matzo balls?
I suppose. No.
Well, maybe we can't in this room. Actually, I picked a bad example because matzo balls are now a tourist attraction in New York. People actually come to New York and they seek out a bowl. They call it matzo ball soup, which irritates me. It's chicken soup with matzo balls because you can have other things in the chicken soup besides matzo balls. For instance, crepe block have died out. Speaking of dying foods, but really, why? I mean, I'm going to be the devil's advocate.
Sure.
I'm on a diet. I can't eat pastrami, no, truthfully. And when I do allow myself, when I'm not on a diet, to eat pastrami, I go to Katz's. And it's enough, you know? And I do it maybe once every 4 or 5 months at the most. Which is, of course, why the delis are dying to begin with, because people like me don't eat deli every week the way we did 40 years ago. But this is food that's not so healthy. I mean, let's face it. It's full of salt. Lean pastrami is not worth eating. I know, I read David's book, so I know he makes a lot of fun about lean. I do too. You don't want to eat lean pastrami. You don't want to eat lean corned beef. So why should we? There are cultural reasons, I think, that we need to save this food.
Okay, so let's tackle the health reason. Everyone says, oh, it's dying out because people are so healthy, they're so healthy these days. I mean, you look around the city and the most popular foods and restaurants that are opening are meatball places, southern barbecue places, fried chicken places. America is fatter than it ever was.
True.
So I think everyone's saying, oh, you know, we're not going to delis because we're so healthy. With the exception of, you know, the dieting few. No,
but I think we eat it less frequently, even those of us
that
allow ourselves.
But I think you're right. The cultural reason is more relevant, and that's because, you know, the generation that founded these types of restaurants and opened them were the people who came through Ellis Island and came here and came from those countries, from Yiddish Eastern Europe, where this was the food that they ate on a daily basis. There was no Chinese food in Poland, which is why they left. That was one of the reasons. Nothing to do with the Nazis. And the thing is that, you know, with each generation that's successively grown up here in the United States or in other countries, their connection to that food is diminished. So you say, well, you know, if they're all going and eating, you know, Japanese food or Chinese food or Thai food or Italian food or whatever, then why don't we just get rid of it? Why don't we abandon it? But it is a part of our history, and food is one of the things that ties us to who we are and where we are. It tells a story, right?
Yeah.
And there's a famous saying, which I think was Cesar Chavez, who said, you know, the first thing that's going to go for us is our language, and the next thing that's going to go that we sort of absorb is religion, and the final thing to go is food. That somebody could be, you know, ethnically Jewish, but have never gone to a synagogue in their life, and married out of the faith, and you know, doesn't speak a word of Hebrew or Yiddish, but they still eat bagels. They still eat knishes. And
it makes them feel Jewish.
It makes them feel
to eat a bagel.
Right.
Yeah. Just like, because my other area of expertise is Italian food, and David's absolutely right. The last thing to go is food. You lose your language, you lose a lot of other traditions, and you don't lose the food. So if you're Italian-American, you know you're Italian-American because you get lasagna on Thanksgiving. Before the turkey, there's a lasagna. If you're, last night I went to a panel on Chinese food, and they know they're Chinese because there are certain dishes that they grew up with, even though these were 4 Americans on the panel. There are certain dishes that they associate with their Chinese culture.
Exactly. And also, beyond the food, I mean, the institution of the delicatessen. The delicatessen isn't just a place to go and pick up a sandwich. When you go and have a meal at a Jewish deli, you're getting an accessible, authentic Jewish experience that you don't get anywhere else.
Well, I would quibble with that. I mean, they have Korean servers at the Stage Deli.
It doesn't, I mean, but they talk, but the Koreans,
they look at you like, yeah.
But, the Korean and Chinese waitresses, I mean, they speak as though they're the old Jewish waiters. Yeah. They still have that same pitter patter. You can go into a Jewish delicatessen, and it almost feels like you're at the table of your Aunt Zelda. The way people are behaving, the pitter patter of sort of.
I want to know where you're going, David, because I'm not having that experience. I'm going to what's the name of the place in Brooklyn? Lloyd's, and what's his name? Jane Lloyd's and Edmond's, and no, Mill Basin Deli is terrible. But we'll get to that later. Is the owner here? No, actually, well, truthfully, it's terrible. I'm sorry. The owner sent me there. He said, I'd like your input because we're having some problems. So I went with some friends. We ordered a lot of food. I didn't know that I was being videotaped. So the next day, the owner knew exactly what I thought too. I was going to be a little more gentle on the phone. And again, I'm not having that deli experience, David. I'm not having that old-time feeling of being in the Jewish cocoon, cultural cocoon.
I don't think it's an old-time experience. I mean, I just think it's the idea that you're amongst your people. There aren't any other types of places. There aren't any other Jewish types of restaurants. I mean, there are Israeli restaurants, but when you go to one of those
places, there are fancy Jewish restaurants.
There are fancy Jewish restaurants where they try to do everything to remove the Jewishness of the experience.
Well, I would say if a kosher Martian landed in New York, he would think sushi was the most Jewish food.
That's right.
Because you go to Prime Grill, this kosher steakhouse, all the boys, they don't wear yarmulkes anymore, they wear baseball caps, and they're all eating sushi. It's not an appetizer in a Jewish restaurant, it's not the main course.
It's appetizing.
It's appetizing. No, it's the Vorspeise, and then, after you've had 12 pieces of sushi, then you go on to your prime steak.
Yeah, $58,
right.
6-ounce $2.
Right. And I wish I could get that experience. The only place I go where I feel like I'm among my people, but they don't think I'm one of them, is the Crown. They call themselves a restaurant now. Do you know the Crown? It used to be the Crown Delicatessen. It's on 13th Avenue in Borough Park. Yeah, and they're Hungarian Jews and a Polish cook in the kitchen, but the front of the house is Hungarian.
I mean,
and then like mamas who want you to enjoy your food.